Okay, folks, Andrew Bopros here. Well, I got a video I want to do talking about the Chargers OTAs, and I want to talk about the rookie breakout candidate for year one. And it's an interesting one. It's probably someone you probably can figure out at this point, but there's a couple of people that are already stepping up, looking like a breakout candidate, and also a sleeper that could make the 53-man roster. So plenty to talk about, guys, in this video. Should be a good one. As always, let's get in. Okay, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the video. I'm Andrew Bolpros. So let's talk a little bit about the breakout candidate of the year here. And I think it's going to be an interesting one to discuss, right? Now, I got Amarian Hampton on the screen. And you guys are like, oh, Andrew, we know he's going to be legit. And everyone's going to keep talking about Ashton Genty versus him. Having said that, I do think that, he's going to get some, carries are going to go to Najee Harris and obviously Martin Hampton. Again, I have another person I want to talk about as well that could get some carries as well too. But Amari Hampton showed out very well. Now, let me be very blanketly clear about OTAs. OTAs are the underwear Olympics. These guys are out here in their underwear, doing drills, little things like that. You're only evaluating the wide receivers and running backs for the most part, right? So you're not really looking at the defensive linemen. You're not really looking at the offensive linemen. The offensive line is getting swizzled around. We all know Zion Johnson's playing center. So we're not really getting to evaluate the rest of the team as a whole, but it's mostly focusing on just the skill position. So keep that in mind in OTA specifically, right? I think when you get to camp, then when you can really start looking at players that are really stepping up. But we got nothing else to talk about, so let's talk about this. Now, the one guy that has been talked about by ESPN is this gentleman right here, Tre Harris. Now, Tre Harris is also not signed by the Chargers at the moment. I think largely because, he's a second-round pick, and this is kind of, where it falls. This is where they're trying to get the most amount of money, yada, yada. But kind of an interesting conversation. NFL Jeffrey Chihata, I think I'm saying that name correctly. If I'm not, say it down below. It really talked about him specifically being a potential breakout candidate for year one. I have another person that could be as well too. Not necessarily a breakout candidate, big time player, but someone can make the 53-man roster. I'm going to talk about him in a second. But Tre Harris has looked very good on this team so far. And people have talked about his, working really well with Justin Herbert, yada, yada. Again, really only evaluating the skill players at this moment. And you know that, I know that. So, take it for what it is. But I thought this was a pretty interesting comment by Jeffrey Chihata from NFL. Oh, sorry, NFL.com, not ESPN, if I said that correctly. But the Chargers hit a home run in the second round last year with Ladd McConkey, as we all know. Who turned into one of the best slot receivers in the league as a rookie. It would be a blessing for them if Harris, this year's second-round pick, another wide receiver, produces a similar impact. There is no bigger need for the Chargers coming this offseason for wide receiver in free agency, even by bringing back Mike Williams, as we all know. It's had some injury issues, as we all know. Williams can't stay on the field. And we all know that, by the way, Williams is actually looking very good with Justin Herbert as well, too. So they're getting right back to where they were. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. And again, inconsistency with Quentin Johnston, and we're going to go from there. The other person they also talked about is on Oronde Gadsden, who's actually looked very good as well as a slot tight end. But my point is, if you could get a true X to step up and be that guy that gels with Justin Herbert with Ladd McConkey. We all know what Ladd can do. It'll open things up. Guys, it'll also open things up for Quentin Johnson. So again, if Tre Harris is very important. We all know Amari Hampton is very important. Najee Harris is going to be available. We're going to have a two-headed monster, perceivably, with the Chargers moving forward. I bring this up because I want to talk about one thing here. It will definitely help Justin Herbert. The one thing that I've said over and over again, Justin Herbert had very good weapons his first year and his second year, and then really it fell off, this last year, his fourth year, Ladd McConkey. He had a really hard time because that was pretty much his only weapon that he could use moving forward. Everyone else was a bit inept. I mean, just to give you an example, Ladd McConkey was actually triple teamed in the playoff games against Houston. So my point is, if he doesn't have a person to throw the ball to, he's going to struggle. This year, there is so much pressure on Justin Herbert because at the end of the day, he has to prove it. He has plenty of weapons. You might argue they're rookies. They're still learning, yada, yada. But Ladd is there. You got Mike Williams back. Now you got Tre Harris, who clearly he's looking like he's doing a good job. Now, if we can get that running game going the right direction, it will make a difference. So I'm going to bring you to my last thought. I'm going to make this a pretty short video, guys, because, again, this is a lot of speculation. But one guy I think could make the roster, this gentleman right here, Raheem Sanders. He's actually looked absolutely amazing. And in fact, I'll say this. A lot of people are talking about him as potentially being the fourth running back, maybe even beating out a Kamani Vidal or replacing him in the lineup, which could be interesting to see because, the other guy that's there as well is Hassan Haskins. What's going to happen with Hassan? We talked about him on our live on Sunday, that Haskins is a bit of a bubble guy. He could be potentially moved away from, or Kamani Vidal might be moved away from, or traded potentially. There's a lot of things that could be said about that. But, I think we really have 5 good running backs on this team. And Jaret Patterson's actually a pretty good player as well, too. So, look, we have plenty of talent in the running back room. And I think Raheem Sanders might make the squad. He's the perfect guy. He's gigantic. He's 6 foot, 230 pounds. He's more like 240 is what people keep saying about him. So look, I think, if there's one guy in the undrafted free agent room that I think could actually make the team, it's Raheem Sanders. And Joe Ortiz has also said that he was a draftable player, meaning when you say draftable, you're probably top 150, right? You don't really go past 150. So he was someone that the Chargers really wanted, and we got him an undrafted free agent. So again, he's going to have to prove himself at this point. But look, I think there's plenty of talent with him there as well, too. So I'm really curious to see what Raheem Sanders can do moving forward. And it's going to happen. He's going to have to show it in preseason and in these 4 games that we're going to have as well, too. But, I think there's a good shot he can make it as well. So again, I just wanted to drop this. Tre Harris is really looking like the main guy that needs to step up for this entire squad so far. OTAs is very new. Underwear Olympics, I know. But, guys, this is some content we want to throw out. It's interesting information. At the end of the day, what do you guys think? Am I way off? And what do you guys think about Rocket Sanders? What do you think about Tre Harris? And I don't know, what do you think about Amari Gatson and all the above? What have you heard? Leave a comment down below. Love to hear your thoughts. As always, Andrew Bolpros. See you guys in the next one.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charged up, Bolt Bros on the night.